Cubs dropped to the Phillies yesterday, but it was good to see our old friend Kyle Schwarber, and he went yard against the Cubs. Let's get into this thing. Cubs and Phillies. Cubs out of it, just trying to figure out what they're going to do in the offseason to be a playoff team, and the Phillies fighting for playoff supremacy and maybe a World Series championship. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the Cubs Baseball channel, and let's get this thing started. What do you say, guys? Welcome to the Cubs Baseball channel. 5 games left in the season. The Cubs already out of it and playing in Philadelphia, trying to play spoiler yesterday, and they just weren't able to get that job done. They lose to the Phillies 6-2. Our old buddy Kyle Schwarber hit a long home run against us, and the final score in the game, 6-2, as the Cubs lose to the Phillies. Now, there was a bright spot. Killian back, returned. I didn't think he was sharp, but you know what? At least he returned. You know, he was in spring training fighting for a spot in the rotation, and all of a sudden he got hurt, and he's been gone a long time. But 5 2/3 innings in relief, 8 hits, 5 runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. All the runs were earned. But it was good to just see him back out there on the mound as the Cubs try to figure out what the next step is. What are they going to do this offseason to improve this team? And pitching, to me, is going to be an area where the Cubs are going to have a lot of leeway. They just do. They're not locked into a lot of the long-term contracts that they have to deal with, or guys that are signed at least through next year as position players in the pitching realm, and so they can figure out what they want to do there. But Kilian's a guy they traded for. They were hoping would be a regular member of this rotation. Remember, he came over from the Giants in that Chris Bryant trade, and it really felt like this was going to be the year where he kind of broke out and made a difference, and then he got hurt, and so he finally got back. So the Cubs with the loss, 3 games over 500, 5 games to go. You want to see these guys get over 500 when it's all said and done, right? I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. Last year, what were they, like, 4 over, 2 over, whatever, right in that same area again, which I've said this before, and I mean, I'll say it again. Like, it really tells you who these guys are. They're a team that's about a 500 team, a little bit better than 500. Craig Counsell kind of talked about that earlier, really last week, and how this team needs to be a 90-win team instead of an 80-win team. You get 90 wins, you're going to make the playoffs, and we'll see what they do in the offseason to make that happen. But teetering around, they've got the Phillies tonight and tomorrow. You know, how are they going to be able to compete against the Phillies? Now, the good thing is that when they play Philadelphia at 5:40 Central Time, they have Justin Steele going. And when I'm recording this, we don't know who the Phillies are starting, but Steele 5-5, 3.03 ERA. Now, he wasn't really stretched out last time he pitched, didn't go 3 innings, but I'm guessing that he'll take a step closer to really putting in some time, getting some innings. They're not going to want to get him hurt, but at the same time, you might as well get some work out of this guy, because moving forward, I mean, you're looking at next year's rotation, you're thinking, okay, Shota Imanaga, who was fantastic this year, was a difference maker for the Cubs. Justin Steele 2 years ago was that same guy. He was the difference maker, was fantastic. So we need both of those guys kind of performing at the same time to make this club really roll. And so I'm thinking for the Cubs, it's dealing with the issue that Steele's always had, and that's staying healthy. Last year he stayed healthy and he was fantastic. You know, this year hasn't been that case. He's had some freak injuries, had some normal pitcher stuff, but at the same time, he's got to be on it health-wise, or it's going to be really tough for him to be successful. Now, as we kind of take one step closer to the postseason for the teams that are going to make it, and the offseason for the Cubs, the question that I have, and I think the biggest question, is Cody Bellinger. What is Cody Bellinger going to do with the option that he has to stay, take the money, or to go and try to get a bigger contract? And to me, I just don't see him getting a better deal than what he has with the Cubs. And I think that really hamstrings the Cubs, having him opt in, just because when you look at the roster and what they have in the minor leagues, it's not going to be very helpful for them to kind of be stuck with his contract and that, paying him close to $30 million. But, who knows what happens between now and then. I think the Cubs probably have some trades going in the offseason as well. And we'll get into all that as we move forward. Now, one guy I did want to talk about was Pete Crow Armstrong, and I'm seeing where his WAR is starting to near 3. Now, he hasn't put up the season statistics that I think he's capable of long-term, right? But at the same time, the guy is really, for a rookie that's trying to figure it out, 237 batting average, 27 steals, 10 home runs, 46 runs batted in. He scored 45 runs. He's not quite there yet, but I feel like he gives the Cubs a building block when you add that Gold Glove defense that he's got. It hasn't won a Gold Glove, but he will eventually, I think. Gives them that person that they know growing-wise is just going to do nothing but get better and better. And I think that's exciting. And then some of the Cubs prospects that they have in the minor leagues, with all of the Cubs minor league teams done now. Smokey's lost in the first round of the playoffs. The Iowa Cubs are finished. The rest of the teams didn't make the playoffs. So we're done. And now it's just time to sit back and figure out what this roster is going to look like moving forward. But I think there's a lot of versatility as far as the AAA team has guys that can play multiple positions that you expect to be, as one of the teams that had, some of the best prospects in baseball, getting roles on the big league team. And for the Cubs, they haven't taken the opportunity this September to give these guys a look. And I don't know if that's going to come back to haunt them or not, or if maybe they don't feel like they're ready, but we really haven't had that blockbuster guy get an opportunity in the big leagues. And at this point, with 5 games left, I just don't think it's going to happen. And then that means you go to spring training and you try to figure out what you got. All right. Get in the comment section. Tell me what you guys think. Cubs and Phillies tonight. Thanks for hanging out. Like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and we will do this show again tomorrow. And who knows, maybe something will break and we'll jump in here and tell you about it.